Hi guys, Rob Anderson from Athletic Evolution here. Just following on from the last little discussion we had around the youth physical development model and what is considered best practice for youth athletic development. So I just wanted to then delve into another little angle on that and talk about the spectrum of youth athletic development coaching. So we talked about how we actually can be improving athleticism right from early childhood, looking at fundamental movement skills, strength, mobility, all those kind of things as we move through. So what that then gives us is a spectrum of different coaching styles and skills that are appropriate across the stages. So, for example, to take someone who's really highly skilled in the barbell lifts and really specific agility and speed variations and to plonk them down with 5-year-olds is probably not going to be the most appropriate use of that person's skill set. Equally, taking someone who's really enthusiastic and facilitates play and has a really unstructured approach and constraints-led approach, and sticking them into a back end of a late adolescent, under 17, under 18 program might not be the best use of their skill set either. So what I wanted to talk about was, what is this spectrum? What does it look like? What does good youth coaching look like at the bottom end? What does it look like at the top end? So this is just my opinion, just some ideas that I've scribbled down. So at the bottom end of that youth physical development model, we talk about early childhood and how kind of pre-peak height velocity, but also how play or how training should be quite unstructured. So what that gives us is a real focus on free play. So what we're going to need for someone who is going to be effective at that end of the spectrum is someone who just facilitates, someone who creates an environment that kids want to play in and just lets them go within the boundaries of stuff that's safe. So that might be a classic kind of jungle gym kind of playgroup leader. It might be someone who's just really enthusiastic and really great with young kids, who encourages them to explore movement, to try different things, but not someone who's very constrained around what things should necessarily look like or what activity we should be doing, but just creating an environment that facilitates free play. So often hidden in games or other activities, whether it's ball-based or hand-eye coordination-based, all those kind of things. Once we move on and the kids have kind of moved into that middle childhood phase, what we should be looking at is someone who's a real specialist in body control. So, we've got the kids away from primarily being free play. We still want to keep that element, but we want to start to encourage a focus on the quality of movement. So for someone who really has an eye for good movement and an eye for body control and that skill set. So that might look like someone with a gymnastics background or a calisthenics background or dance or martial arts. Someone who understands movement and kinesthetic awareness, your body in space, but we're still having a combination of some structure and some free play. But having someone with that eye for movement and the background in that kinesthetic awareness is going to help us improve fundamental movement skills, mobility, agility, all those kind of things. And we're gradually moving towards a more structured kind of program. Then when we're getting into that kind of adolescent period, that's when we're probably looking at that kind of classic PE teacher. So someone with a variety of skills and maybe a background in athletics or invasion games or something like that can take some of that structure and apply it to some of our youth athletic development activities. So we can bring in some of these invasion games, but equally someone who still has an eye for body control. So we're looking at body weight movement. Can we control our body in space? Can we develop things like strength and control of our own body, core control, all those kind of things. And then as we start to move towards that adolescence, kind of middle and late, that's when we're looking at what we would classically call strength and conditioning. So someone who has that kind of conventional training, maybe in the barbell lifts and plyometrics and kind of periodization methods and all those kind of things. That's when that skill set probably starts to become required. It's not required down at the early end. What we need there is someone who really is going to facilitate play and encourage kids to have fun and engage in physical activity, whatever that might be, whether it's TIG, whether it's throwing a beanbag with your power, whether it's climbing some monkey bars. So what we have is actually a spectrum of youth athletic development that requires different skill sets across the spectrum. There's no point having a highly structured program at a youth level in terms of early childhood. Equally, we need some structure at that high end when we're going to expose kids to some higher end strength training. So hopefully what I've illustrated for you is that actually across the spectrum of youth athletic development, we look for different, or we should be looking for practitioners with different skill sets, different kind of personal characteristics, ranging from someone who can really facilitate and encourage an environment that creates free play and enthusiasm and fun, to someone who has a better understanding of maybe loading parameters and periodization and more conventional, traditional strength training methods. So there we go. That's a spectrum of youth athletic development coaching. Keen to hear your thoughts, so stick them in the comments below. Cheers. Bye-bye.